Hello and welcome to the realest of the real, Short Box. My name is Kevin.
I'm Donald.
I'm Jarrett.
Oh, what's wrong, little Jarrett?
What's wrong?
Nothing, I was just joking. I'm Jarrett.
You should be excited today, Jared, because you know what we're going to talk about tonight, are you?
Yeah, I do. I do know because I recommended it.
Yes, you did. Jared recommended this very fun topic.
Porn!
No, not porn. Come
I
on
didn't recommend
now.
that. I live that.
How dare you?
Right, it's a lifestyle. It's a
What?
choice.
Boobies, booty, faces,
That's
toes,
true. I mean,
hands,
whatever floats your boat, I
toe
guess.
jobs.
I mean, it can be fun.
Good
And,
old toe job.
and for some
Yeah.
people, it can be therapeutic.
But back to comics.
Yes.
What's the topic, Kevin?
The topic that you chose, sir, was favorite single issues, which is, I must say, not easy because I think all of us have a bunch of favorite single issues. So we had to spend a whole week trying to pick one out of many.
Yeah, and this is just basically an issue that just you read it and you're like, that was a complete and fun issue, or that was a wild ride, or that had a really heartfelt message.
Or that one made me excited in my pants.
Yeah.
Or sometimes makes you cry.
In your pants.
Not in your pants, but in your soul.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
Oh, yes.
Wow,
Yeah.
I didn't have that.
No? Like, remember that issue of X-Men, I think it was 304, where it was all about Colossus, or no, was it Jubilee saying goodbye to Ilyana Rasputin, Magic, because she got the legacy virus?
Yes.
And then she came back, because they all come back.
Eventually.
Nobody stays dead. You want it to mean something, keep them dead. Keep them dead.
Uncle Ben.
Uncle Ben, he's the only guy. Remember, it was Uncle Ben and Bucky.
Well, he did come back briefly, Uncle Ben did, to deliver us delicious rice. Although
true.
it was in the form of a black man, which I found confusing.
And only in San Francisco.
Right. Wait, that was Rice-A-Roni.
Yeah, that's true.
The San Francisco trade.
But was Uncle Ben, did he live in Rice-A-Roni? San
No.
Francisco?
No, he was Manhattan. They were all Manhattan, right?
Well, there we go.
You sure about that?
Yeah, New York. Spider-Man. Peter
Well, and
Parker.
Spider-Man, yeah, but I mean, like, Uncle Ben. Uncle
Oh, Uncle Ben. Well.
Yeah.
Well,
Ben. You know, I wonder why him and Aunt Jemima just didn't.
get together?
Yeah,
That's a very good question.
right.
Because Mrs. Butterworth was trying to get in on that.
Or maybe the
Oh, shit.
Maybe I got a better one. Maybe the Quaker Oats man has something to say about it.
That's racist.
What?
What?
I know. I just feel like saying that.
Now,
He's a
if it was
colonial guy.
Wilford Brimley
Yeah.
now, I believe, is the Quaker Oats man, so I don't think he minds.
You get your blood sugar checked, you get it checked off, and there's no reason not to.
Why was he so angry?
Diabetes.
He looked so pissed off when he said it.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Angry. Wants you sick of people not listening to his advice.
I guess
Right.
so. It's like, sir, I will get my blood sugar checked. I promise. You know?
He's an angry elf. I don't know.
So who's starting us off? Donald?
I think it's gonna be me, and I'm gonna start out with a bang.
Nice.
Yeah, kapow. My issue that actually got me started on this whole, it's weird because you don't ordinarily consider video games to be good properties to adapt into comic books. But if a video game was already based on characters that are from comics, it's much easier.
Right.
And in this case, the one I'm talking about is Injustice: Gods Among Us. This is the series that was written by Tom Taylor, and it had art by Jeremy Rappak or
Rape pack?
no, that's
Sorry.
probably not that, and Mike S. Miller. So what this basically does is it tells the tale of what happened before the first video game of Injustice: Gods Among Us.
Which is a great...
It was like a prequel, kind of.
Yeah, it's a prequel.
Such a good video game.
So anyway, the first issue of this really got me. This is basically a scenario where it starts out in the present time, and Batman's kind of on top of the roofs, of course, because that's what Batman does. And he's looking down, and there's like this totalitarian government takeover, basically, that's showing that they are, in charge, and they're shining or flying Superman kind of flags.
Right.
And it's very dark and grim, and it's like, Gotham has fallen silent. This is no dream. This is perversion. This is a nightmare. This is, Bruce Wayne, Batman speaking. And then it flashes back to 5 years ago where Superman wakes up and he's there in bed with Lois.
Oh.
Ooh la la.
Yeah.
And she's preggers.
You're
Whoa.
kidding me.
Yeah, no, I'm not kidding you. She's got a glow about her. She has a bun in the oven.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
And
It's
the
showing
timer
her,
is about to go off.
and I'm looking right now. It's showing her peeing on the stick.
Right.
No, it didn't have that.
Well, the stick's just there. She left it in.
Oh.
Very strange.
Lord.
She didn't know how to do it. But anyway, she's talking. They're discussing, oh, you know, I'm pregnant. Oh, yeah, I know. This is great. We're so great being pregnant and in love. Blah, 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 blah. And her phone buzzes, and it says that message from the Daily Planet, an anonymous tip from that they don't know from who, but of course, because it's anonymous. But a councilman by the name of Councilman Ives is taking a payoff at the docks tonight. So she's going to get Jimmy Olsen down there, and they're going to check shit out and see what's up. So Superman's like, I don't know, baby. I don't want my pregnant wife going down there and getting in trouble. And she's like, look, I'm an independent woman. Whether I have a bun in the oven or not, I'm going to go do my business.
I'm a journalist.
And, like, it's not like you can't look after me from afar. You've got x-ray vision. You can see very long distances. You can hear my heartbeat. It's fine. So in the meantime, Batman's, like, in the city. He's actually Metropolis at that point. And Superman flies off to go check out what's going on with him. And Batman's like, I don't know. You know, I'm on my way to Star Labs. Something sensitive was taken. And Superman's like, well, when you get time, come up and see me. We need to talk. And so he does, and they go up and talk. And Superman's like, guess what? I have some news. Batman's like, Lois is pregnant. And, of course, Superman, being the ever big blue Boy Scout, is like, how did you know? And he's like, I'm Batman, dude. You know, I know. So he's like, that's great. I actually want you to be the godfather to my son. I want you to be, you know, I want you to, if you would, take him on as your godson. And Batman's like, that's cool. Yeah, you know, whatever.
It's like I could use another Robin eventually.
Right, yeah. I could use another guy that I'm going to throw in front of a bullet. So, meanwhile, Lois and Jimmy are down at the docks, right? And the councilman's there, and, you know, he's about ready to take a payoff, and Jimmy's got his camera, and he's focusing the lens, and suddenly there's, like, a gun right in front of his lens, and he's like, oh, shit, what's going on? Here, it's the motherfucking Joker.
Not the guy you want to run into in any situation, let alone at the docks with a gun in your camera.
Nope. So bang, pow, he shoots Jimmy through the camera into his eye, into his head, killing him instantly. Jimmy Olsen, ladies and gentlemen, is dead. Dead at the docks.
That's not right.
No, it just shows you, like, the severity of the comic.
And of
like,
this world.
Of this world, yeah, where they're going with this. So Lois is like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Oh my god, look at that butt. And so Superman the next day, he goes down to the docks because he's like, I don't know what the hell's going on. Lois hasn't returned. And he finds Jimmy dead. But he finds a Joker card covered in blood next to Jimmy's head. And so he's like, oh shit. And then it goes to Batman, who's in Star Labs at that point. And he's talking with the scientist who's like, hey, we were experimenting on kryptonite, trying to see if there's any medicinal purposes that could, like, maybe cure cancer or do something like that. Even though, like, in the comics, I believe, it gave Lex Luthor cancer and killed him.
That's right.
Yeah, so I don't know what they were thinking, but they were going to try it anyway. You know, scientists. So Superman shows up really quick, and he's like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, Lois, I can't see her, I can't hear her, I can't find her. She is off the map. And Batman's like, oh man, you know, don't worry. We're going to do this. So he gets on his comm and he's like, Justice League, I need all of you. It's a missing woman. We need to help find her. And of course, Green Arrow being Green Arrow is like, you need all of us to find one woman? And he's like, yes, it's of absolute importance. So Green Arrow, Cyborg, Wonder Woman, even eventually Green Lantern and the Flash go looking for Lois. The Flash goes looking around the city, like in the sewers and things like that, while Superman's scanning the skyline, you know, looking all over everywhere there. And the Flash is going places really fast that Superman can't necessarily see because it's lead-lined.
Yeah.
So the Flash finds something, and he's like, Batman, you know, he comes back to him. He's like, dude, I need to show you something. He's like, okay. So he takes him back to Star Labs. And in Star Labs, they find Jonathan Crane, a.k.a. The Scarecrow. And they take the mask off the Scarecrow, and he's been Jokerized.
That's
and,
awesome.
Yeah, and he's dead. and they're like, oh shit, something's going on. We're missing kryptonite. The Scarecrow's messing with some shit in Star Labs. We were missing stuff from Star Labs. They're starting to put the puzzle together.
Right.
Meanwhile, Wonder Woman and Superman figure out by interrogating some dude or finding some dude. I think they found him, I don't know. They don't really explain it that well. But the dude's like, the Joker took a submarine. He's got like Lois and them in there. So Superman jumps down into the water, or splashes down into the water, or flies into the water, whichever works for you.
Swan dives,
yes. He does a 9.8.
Cuts the water beautifully.
Everybody claps. But he jumps down into the water and pulls out this giant submarine. And he pulls it up onto the beach, and he rips it open, and there is Lois on a table, and the Joker and Harley Quinn with masks on, standing over her with a scalpel.
Yikes.
Obviously, you can see that there's obviously some green mist in the air.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know what it is right away. But Superman's like, what did they do to you? He's running over to Lois. He starts to get dizzy. And he notices, oh my God, it's Doomsday. Doomsday has suddenly appeared inside the submarine. They had somehow gotten Doomsday in there. And he comes after Superman and starts to attack him. So he's after Superman. They're fighting back and forth and battling. And he's like, I've got to get Doomsday out of here. He could potentially kill Lois.
Again, I got to get to Lois, so yeah.
Right. Clark's mentality. He loves Lois. That's his girl. So he doesn't worry about the Joker or Harley Quinn. He just gets Doomsday and takes him up into the air. Joker's like, well, it's time to go, Harley. And she's like, wait, we're just leaving? This is the first submarine I've ever owned. And I just named it.
Oh,
like, you don't leave things behind that you named. And he's like, Harley, we'll get you another one. And she's like, okay, goodbye, Gunter. And she says goodbye to her submarine, and they go to leave, but they get smashed by a giant green hand, a.k.a. Green Lantern Hal Jordan is there to save the day. He stops them from getting away. Batman's there with the Flash. They show up. The Joker's laughing. He's like, ha, putting fear in the hearts of criminals, while his bright red friend carries him through the night. Talking about basically the Flash showing up with Batman. So he's already goading him, making fun of him. And Batman goes to go inside. And he's like, wait. And he stops the Flash from joining him. And he says, Scarecrow's fear toxin's in here. He recognizes it right away.
Oh, God, it's coming back to me. Yep.
And so Wonder Woman wants to put the lasso of truth on the Joker. And Batman's like, there's no point. Whatever he'll tell you will not be the truth.
Right.
He's like one of the few that's impervious to the lasso of truth because he truly is insane.
Right.
So basically at this point, the Joker reveals that he had laced the kryptonite that they had used. Scarecrow added it to his fear toxin so it could enter Superman's bloodstream through his lungs. Right. Weakening Superman and making him kind of mentally unstable to the point where he's pushing Doomsday out into outer space, and he pushes him out into the atmosphere, into space. And just at that moment, the fear toxin wears off, and he realizes that he has killed his wife, Lois Lane.
He thought Doomsday, because of the fear toxin.
He thought
Lois was Doomsday.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and basically killed his wife and his unborn child. And meanwhile, if Lois, the Joker had sewn inside, he said he had sewn inside something or added a bomb into her to where if her heartbeat stops, there's a warhead that detonates in the heart of Metropolis.
Jesus.
This is a diabolical plot.
That's
man.
insult to injury, too,
right?
man.
This is like genius criminal level shit. This is like the creme de la creme.
Even Lex Luthor isn't this crazy.
No.
Yeah.
Nightmare style scenario for sure. So Superman's like, oh my God, Lois. Her heart stops beating. The bomb detonates in Metropolis, destroying the Daily Planet and everything around it, killing millions of people.
And Superman just just lost his whole livelihood. His life.
His city.
His wife.
His friend
his
Jimmy.
unborn child.
His job.
His best friend. Everything. He just lost everything.
And that's where it stops, right there on that page, when the bomb is detonating in Metropolis.
Oh my God.
And that's the first issue. Now it goes on, of course, and there's much more, but this basically is telling the story of how Superman goes kind of nuts and becomes a dictator of massive proportion.
Right.
And this is something that says if power goes unchecked, the ramifications could be immense.
Which has always been a big story point for Superman, for the Justice League, for stuff like that.
Right. How when Superman, he had to give Batman the kryptonite just in case he got out of control, and Batman then could stop him with the kryptonite.
And they visited. This is Kingdom Come was very much in this vein. But what you said too is crazy. You would never think a video game would spawn or be related to such a crazy, really well done piece of work.
Yeah.
Look, I remember I'm a gamer, and I was super pumped for Injustice, and I was on the message when the first game came out. I was on the message boards every day trying to find the new characters. And when the book came out, I was like, I'll get the book because I want to know everything about this story. Totally not hyped for it at all. I just wanted the game. Mm-hmm. And I remember starting to read the story, and it was like that sudden awareness of, this is really good, and this is really like ahead of its time and dark, and like tying it into the game, and at the same time it's got its own life of itself, to the point where they're actually still doing it.
Yeah, they're still doing it. I'll tell you, Tom Taylor crafted a story that I to this day I'll still follow Tom Taylor. Tom Taylor, I follow your work because of what you did in Injustice: Gods Among Us. Mm-hmm. I mean, I followed him over to I think it was Superior Iron Man. I think that was it. Yeah, like over to that then after this, because he had left doing Injustice to go over to Marvel and do some work over there. Mm-hmm. And I followed him over. And the guy that took over after him in this Injustice series tries.
Yeah.
It's nowhere near on the level of what Tom Taylor's writing was. Nowhere near. And there's some good stuff. Like, you'll see, like, the Spectre gets involved, and he's on the side of Superman. And then they convince him that Superman's evil, right. And then the Spectre gets confused, and he goes after Superman then. But then Mr. Mxyzptlk or
Mxyzptlk.
Yeah, however we pronounce it. He then comes after the Spectre.
Oh, that's...
And it's literally him, like giant him versus giant Spectre.
That's awesome.
Over a city, like battling.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it has some really great moments. John Constantine steps in at some point. It gets really cool. Green Arrow has one of the best stories in here. I mean, if they could just like get some of the writing from this and use it for the series.
Right.
This series, Arrow, on CW, would be the best thing there ever was.
Yeah.
If they could just get a portion of the writing that's done in here to do to Arrow what they've done in here.
Yeah.
Harley Quinn becomes a huge character in here because then Arrow has to like try and hide her because Superman wants to kill her. Superman, in the second issue, he puts his fist through the Joker's chest.
That's right.
Killing him.
That's where the line officially is crossed. Yeah.
Right. So there's so much that takes place. Of course, Batman's on the side of we can't go that far.
Right.
So it's Batman versus Superman and what happens when two of the biggest icons in comic book history go head to head. Mm-hmm. This is a book for the ages, gentlemen. This is something I can't recommend enough. In just that first issue, if you read it, if you look at the art and you read the story, I swear you're not going to put this book down. You're going to want to get every individual issue, and if not, you can buy the trade. The trade's like $20 in hardback form. It's not hard to find still.
That's a beautiful looking hardback.
It's very pretty, yeah. And I can't recommend this story enough, and that is my single issue that got me into an entire series story.
Good choice.
All right, I like that.
Kevin?
All right, next.
Yeah.
What I did, I took the concluding issue to a story arc, to one of my favorite all-time comics, which only lasted about 2 years or so, and that was Uncanny X-Force Volume 1 under Rick Remender and the wonderful illustrator Jerome Opeña.
He's awesome.
He is awesome. This is issue number 4, and it's called The Apocalypse Solution Part 4.
Okay.
And this basically, leading up to this issue, was the 5 members of X-Force, Phantom X, Archangel, Deadpool, Wolverine, and Psylocke, they find out information that Apocalypse is being resurrected again.
Right.
And
Also, side note, maybe the most badass team of like badasses.
oh yeah, I mean, this is just an awesome team. Let me tell you something, folks. If you have a chance, get the trade paperback and get on Kenny X-Force.
Yeah, it's a great run.
Great run. But basically, they go to the moon where they find out that the rest is going down. The Clan Akaba, led by Ozymandias, who
Did
is
you say
a
the
leader.
Chupacabra?
No. The Clan Akaba,
Oh, okay.
which is led by Ozymandias, who is a servant of Apocalypse over the ages.
Since like his beginnings,
Yes,
right?
this is beginnings. Matter of fact, he was kind of like, kind of bullying Apocalypse around before he gained his power in Egypt.
So
and then in reverse, he turned him into his
He
slave.
cursed him. He made him like a stone
Yeah,
man.
stone man. He turned
Did that happen to the dude from the Watchmen?
Not that
not that guy.
Ozymandias.
Not that Ozymandias.
Oh, okay.
Same name, but a different type of Ozymandias.
Oh, okay.
This one's actually much older than that Ozymandias.
How do you know?
Well, if you read their Origins of Apocalypse, this guy's like 4,000 or 5,000 years into the about 5,000 years in the past. So
Maybe
this
that
guy
guy's
is
old too. Maybe that guy's old too.
No, he's just a blonde dude.
He's a blonde.
Oh,
dude.
okay. All right. Fair enough.
What do you call it? Blonde bimbo dude.
Yeah.
But basically, they get to the moon base and they are confronted by the final horsemen, as they're called. These are the biggest badass horsemen I've ever seen. And I know Jared, you and I were talking about this beforehand. There's a guy with like a drum set.
Yeah. Well, it was the first time it was horsemen that weren't like cutouts or like an archangel, like an angel,
Right.
turned like a mutant turned into a horseman.
Right. These
Yeah.
guys are just like the ultimate horseman.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a bull type of guy. I think he was war. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, they were a sight to behold.
Pestilence.
Yeah.
They bring the pain. And the X-Force team, they're in the fight of their life. I mean, they are getting their asses kicked
Right.
left and right. It was only one factor that helped save them and defeating them was that they didn't have any intel on Phantom X's powers. They knew about the other four. But Phantom X, with his power of illusions and in misdirection, and also, that ship is like a second brain EVA, was like a key factor in their victory.
That's right.
So they weren't ready for that. But what's crazy is you get to a point where Archangel is severely hurt, and you gotta love this. Deadpool cuts a piece of his flesh off and feeds it to him to like give him sustenance to get him going again.
That's
It's just crazy.
That's pretty cool.
It's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Because he just healed.
Yeah, he'll heal.
And he's
exactly.
crazy, so he
He's
doesn't give a
crazy.
shit.
Yeah, and of course, he's Deadpool's Deadpool. He just jokes around about it. Hey, come on, buddy. It's a little piece.
oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Psylocke, she separates from the group and she finds Apocalypse, which has actually been resurrected as a young child.
What's her powers again besides just being boring?
Psylocke,
She's
Yeah.
a telepath.
telepath. She could. I was looking at a Wikipedia thing. She's an Omega level mutant.
Oh, she is now?
It had her
They-
listed.
they
I don't know
classified
why.
her? Really?
I think they've amped up her powers.
They had to
like,
advance her powers
hardcore.
because I remember she was
She was a telepath.
powerful, but she was not on the level of Jean Grey or Xavier.
That's when
She
they
had-
made her like a ninja.
She had these small level telepathic abilities,
Right.
and she could create these little
Side blades.
Side
yeah
blades.
dagger things out of her hands or whatever the
But
shit.
before
it was.
that, she was just kind of like a low level telepath.
Did she escape
like-
from the hand or something?
The hand like brainwashed her, switched her body. It was that was a very confusing thing.
Ugh.
But switched her, made her a ninja, and
Convoluted X-Men
Yeah.
stories, no doubt.
So
Yeah.
basically, when is she been killed off yet? And if not,
One.
is somebody thinking about it? And if they are, is there any place I can write to make that
she's
happen?
got a pretty solid fan base. Though.
Yeah, she
I
does.
don't understand it. I'm gonna go on the record. I don't understand.
If you
why.
read her in this storyline, she's great because what's her dynamic with Archangel? Because they're, lovers, relationship and whatnot.
oh, are they?
Yes,
Oh, they're an item.
she has to use her power because what's interesting about Archangel and Warren, he can switch back and forth between his original form and the blue skin
Yeah, it's like Jekyll and Hyde.
Jekyll and
Right,
Hyde form.
right.
So she has to use her telepathy to kind of keep that in check. And that's actually like a nice little subplot that.
Oh,
that carries,
okay. So it's like the cloak and dagger thing. Like they kind of need each other.
yeah, a little
Symbiotic
bit, a little bit
almost.
symbiotic, but
where
but
he
Archangel needs her more.
Needs her a little more.
Needs a little more.
Yeah. Okay.
And what's cool is if you read the whole series, by the way, you'll see how this plays out. Warren is just, it's kind of literally he's fighting the demon within, like you said, the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, which leads to another storyline, but we'll say that for another time.
So yeah, so it was the Apocalypse seed, right? It was like Apocalypse was pretty much trying to be reborn.
Yes.
And start afresh, right?
Yes. And they bring him back as this little child, innocent looking little boy. And he's locked away somewhere, for his protection. But eventually Psylocke finds the area and she decides just to protect him. She doesn't want to kill him. She feels like this little boy, I can't do this. He hasn't been given a chance yet.
And this was playing off the whole, like...
Nature versus nurture.
Yeah, like, if you found Hitler as
Yes.
a little kid, would you kill Hitler?
Would you kill him before
knowing what he's going to become?
Yes. And before all this goes down, of course, they got to, like I said, handle the rest of these horsemen and Ozymandias. And what they do is, in the end, they get teleported to a different planet with the help, like I said, using Phantom X and EVA's ability.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is all five meet up, they find the boy, and basically they're debating what to do. And Psylocke just puts her foot down and says, look, you guys got to come through me if you want to take this kid out. You're not going to do it because we can train him. He's a little boy. We can train him to be a good person.
Right.
And of course, Archangel, he's like, no.
Like,
you
he's ruined my life.
Yeah, he's ruined my life. You don't know how many people he's going to ruin in the future.
They did an episode about Hitler. I think it was like a 1 or 2 or maybe even 3-parter or something in the 90s Outer Limits run.
Uh-huh.
Where I think it was a lady, she went back in time to pretend to be Hitler's nurse, or not, like wet nurse, or
Right.
like
Nanny.
nanny, yeah, and to try to steal the baby or kill the baby, and it ends up like she goofs and she switches accidentally that the real baby, Hitler's parents' real baby,
Uh-huh.
was fine. And the baby that she switched it out with and ended up being actual
Becomes
Hitler
Adolf
baby.
Hitler, yeah,
yeah.
okay.
So it's really fascinating. It was basically saying no matter what you did,
It's going to happen.
Hitler was going to happen.
Right.
Like, you can't change the future. You
future.
can't, yeah.
So it's not Hitler per se. It could be some guy named,
It could have been Baby Mark,
Right.
and Baby Mark ends
Right.
up being,
the person.
yeah, Hitler.
Yes.
Right.
Interesting enough, it's funny you mention that because later on during the Uncanny X-Force run, that's basically kind of plays into it. Someone else becomes that person in a way. You know what I'm talking about, Jared?
Yeah.
You know? But, so basically, Psylocke fights Archangel. She's like, no, you're not touching this kid. And, they're going at it. Wolverine has his claws out. He's considering it. And then he kind of like backs down. And eventually, Archangel gets within striking distance. He's about to kill the kid. And he decides, you know what? I can't do this. He starts breaking down like, no, I can't do this. God help me. I can't do this. So Wolverine says, okay, it's settled. What we're going to do is we're going to take the boy back, and we're going to train him. We're going to make sure he's done right. And all of a sudden, bam, you hear a gunshot.
Deadpool or Phantom X?
Phantom X did it.
Yep.
The person you least likely to do the boy in blows his head off.
Wow.
And it's a powerful scene because after that, there's no more dialogue. You just see the different panels. This just shows you the greatness of Jerome Opeña's artwork. Mm-hmm. You just see silence. Everyone's looking at each other. They look at Phantom X like, wow, I can't believe you just did that. So after that, it's just like the ship is called over. They go home. And as they're going home inside the ship, you just see different shots of each of the characters, just like with these different like silent looks on their face. Like no one says anything. It's just like, wow, Archangel's kind of like has his face covered. Wolverine
Could be disgust, could be relief, could be all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Psylocke is just like looking away, like, wow.
Sometimes silence is more powerful than
yeah.
anything.
Yep, that's why it was.
Well, that's a testament to the artist.
Yeah,
too.
testament to the artist too, because you have to draw that out so you can see the visuals of it. It's just it just shows you that kind of difficult decision that no one can make that decision. But Phantom X just said, "All right, I'll make the tough call. I understand you guys can't do it. You guys are a little closer to the situation. I'm kind of like the new guy in part of this, X-Men thing.
Yeah.
I'll handle it. I'll take it.
He's a character I don't like. I know I've probably said this before. I don't know a whole lot about. I've never read a
that
story
run.
with him in it. And actually, I know we talked about it in a SmackDown, and Kevin said I had to read it, and I said I'm reading it now. I was lying, people. I was not reading it then. I still haven't read it, but I should. Now, where would somebody like me that wants to start, like for example, if you wanted to start with Injustice: Gods Among Us, that's volume 1 of the trade. Where would I start if I wanted to read this great, uncanny X-Force story?
I think they have the trades of it all.
They have the trades. I believe the whole series is like, I want to say...
It's like 24 issues.
24, 28 issues, something like that.
And I want to start at the beginning, or
Start
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
very beginning.
Okay.
Trust me, you want to read it. Literally, this is the one series I can say where literally every single issue is good.
And it's all one story.
It's one giant story arc, but separated into little pieces. But this is the first one, the Apocalypse Solution.
Okay.
And then you get into another one where they go back to the age of Apocalypse.
It's all apocalypse based.
Based.
And it's,
oh,
yeah.
interesting.
And by the way,
well, no wonder you like it. Kevin's
Yes.
got the hugest boner for Apocalypse.
That's true. I do.
Those big blue
but,
lips.
but these, but yes, true. I
His
do.
DSLs.
But they have these different little twists. Like you remember, like the Wolverine Apocalypse, the from Age of Apocalypse.
Yeah.
When they go back there, you find out that he's now in charge. Like he becomes like
Apocalypse.
of that era.
Oh, the one-hand Wolverine?
Yes.
Really?
and
it
it's
gets
crazy.
really
It's really interesting and really good, and especially when the other Wolverine
so,
meets him.
basically, just like I'm saying, you eliminate the Hitler and you bring in another
Yes.
Hitler.
Yes.
That
Like,
Wolverine was like a hero in that Age of Apocalypse.
Yeah.
But
okay.
he would later be corrupted.
Yeah.
And by the way, that Wolverine is pretty crazy. Like he's just all about the apocalypse philosophy. You know, he just takes over. He's just
Only
like
the strong survive.
And let me tell you something. He takes out some people that you wouldn't think he would do. Like he kills some of your other heroes from the Age of Apocalypse, like with ease, without mercy.
wow.
I mean,
Yeah, that was a great run.
That's a great run.
Nice, nice. Very cool, very
Yes.
cool. I'll check it out for sure. You know what? I think I'm going to read it right now.
But I want to go. I want your attention.
Okay, give us your
Okay.
attention.
Let's see what Jarrett has on the plate for tonight.
Well, my book is actually literally just a one-off. What I loved about hearing your guys' books is that I read both of these stories and these issues, and I completely when you don't read it for a while, you kind of forget what happens.
Yeah, flashbacks.
So
Yeah.
it was such a cool thing to get like, oh shit, that was great. Oh, that story was fucking awesome. I remember that.
Right, yeah. And and sometimes just not like for me, it's different because I'd never read what Kevin was going over. So it was cool for me to kind of learn a little more and get me into it. So now I want to
Now
read
you're
it.
interested.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and then the interesting thing too, I'm just realizing, is my book is kind of a mixture of yours, as it's an Elseworlds type story, and it's an X-Men story.
There you go.
Oh, cool.
I chose What If from the What If series we've talked about before, which was like these hypothetical what ifs for Marvel.
Nice.
What if the X-Men lost Inferno?
Wow.
And it's number 6 of the second series, came out in '89. Danny Fingeroth, I think, wrote it, and Ron Lim's art. And if you
I can't go wrong with Ron Lim.
Ron Lim's art is amazing. I especially loved his whole Silver Surfer run in the 90s.
Oh yeah,
So
he's great.
good. So this book was just a lot of times What If could be, they're hit and miss. They could be really disappointing because sometimes it was just to try to cram a big story or a big idea into one issue, and it just kind of bombed. This book had this, it was quick, complete, and fun.
Concise. I
Yeah,
like that.
and it was very much like, one, if you were an X-Men fan, it was awesome. 2, it was like they killed everybody. Everybody gets killed. I mean, it's just like there was no holding back because it's a what if story. Those were the cool things.
Right. Yeah.
you know.
When they didn't pull punches because it didn't matter.
It didn't matter, exactly. So this story starts out with the ending of what actually did happen in the Inferno story. In the Inferno story, just a brief synopsis. There was a demon named Niastir, or Nastir, however you want to say it.
Nistier.
Yeah, Nistier. And he, through some convoluted stuff, he pretty much had magic from the New Mutants, Ilyana Rasputin, who also was the head of Limbo. He pretty much opened a doorway from Limbo.
Limbo time.
No,
Da,
they
da,
didn't do
da,
Limbo.
da.
No. The demon Limbo.
Oh.
And they had, so pretty much there was a portal open in Manhattan, and all the demons came through it. And they demonized all of Manhattan. So like mailboxes were coming alive and eating people.
Cats and
like,
dogs living together.
Cats and dogs living together. It was disgusting. So, and in the midst of this, a lot of the Marvel heroes in New York were affected, but mainly the X-Men were involved. And that was mainly because you had Sim, who was another demon who fought, he was either controlled or would fight magic. He kind of would go back and forth. And the Goblin Queen, Madeline Pryor, who is the clone of Jean Grey. Now,
Who's also the mother
the mother of Cable.
of Cable.
And Cable plays a really small part in this, because Cable in this is still a baby.
That's right.
So it opens up with giving a kind of brief history of it, saying, Nastir is opening this gate. The Sim was trying to take over. Sim attained the Soul Sword, which I've talked about in a SmackDown, which is pretty much the embodiment of magic's power. So Sim gets a hold of the Soul Sword. We open with the X-Men, they're all teams, X Factor, X-Men, they're all there. They're all gonna have their final battle with Nastier, with Sim, with the Goblin Queen. Nastier was destroyed by the X-Men. He's completely off the table.
Mm-hmm.
So Sim is sitting there fighting with the Soul Sword, and the Goblin Queen, Madeline Pryor, is holding up baby Nathan Summers, who we would now know to become Cable. And now in the real story, the X-Men prevail, and they defeat Sim, they close the Limbo Gate, and everything goes back to normal.
Right.
But in this What If story, we have Sim defeating the X-Men. He's kind of just blasting them with his soul sword. And Madeline Pryor uses her telekinesis to grab hold of Wolverine and the real Jean Grey. And obviously, in the real book, Jean Grey overcomes Madeline Pryor and beats her clone and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. In this one, Madeline Pryor immediately kills Jean Grey. And they're about to kill Wolverine. And Sim says, "Don't kill him. We could keep him as a pet." So they go, okay. So they put him aside, and what they do with Wolverine is they demonize him. So Wolverine is their slave. And Wolverine demonized, if you see on the cover, looks awesome. He's just got, like, his clothes are all tattered. He's got fangs.
That's almost Sam Keith-esque artwork on there.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
But Ron Lemon, that's why I like it.
Yeah.
Sam Keith.
Well, I mean, it's got the teeth
yeah,
and the
yeah,
eyes
the
that he's
feralness.
yeah.
So how do they ring in the bell for this new Inferno? Because pretty much now the Inferno world, the demonized world, is not just going to take over New York. It's going to take over the world. How do they rule it? Sim and Goblin Queen, Madeline Pryor, say, hey, we'll team up. We won't fight each other. We'll work together. But they're both very nefarious, especially Sim, so you don't know if that's going to be a tentative friendship. But they put little baby Nathan at the altar, and Sim raises his soul sword and slices him in half.
Wow.
Kills the baby.
Wow.
And then it just shows them just laughing with all the demons coming through the portal. Then we cut to... so now pretty much what's happened is the world is completely demonized. The humans that haven't become demons are enslaved and either made slaves or made into just pretty much food for the demons.
Gotcha.
And you see here you have Wolverine on top of this carriage by being pulled by demonized horses. And inside, it's like almost like a circus cage, are humans in their tattered clothes.
Filled with women.
Women, men,
And
a
a couple guys, yeah.
But one of the women is Alicia Masters.
Oh.
The daughter of the Puppet Master. But at this time, she was a girlfriend of Johnny Storm, the Human Torch.
Right.
She will come into play later on. But she's in there. And Wolverine is on the top. The demonized Wolverine with his claws out and a whip, whipping the horses. Now, in the corner, you see Damon Hellstorm.
Damien Hellstorm?
Damon Hellstorm and Shaman of Alpha Flight. And they're kind of hiding. And then they kind of go into, briefly, the history of the Inferno, which I just kind of gave you. But it shows a couple of things. It shows Doctor Strange is involved. It also shows that Rachel Summers, the daughter from an alternate future of Cyclops and Jean Grey.
She's also known as Phoenix, too.
I'm lost.
Phoenix. From Days of Future Past, they did that story. That's where she was introduced.
Yeah.
She was turned into a mannequin.
What?
And put into a shopping in a window somewhere.
Are you kidding me?
So it just shows that Doctor Strange and them are involved.
Okay.
Then we cut to, this is another great thing. So we cut to Sim and Madeline Pryor making out.
Ooh,
And as
that's
they're
hot.
Yeah, this big burly demon guy with this hot redhead. So they're making out and they're interrupted by Wolverine. And Wolverine's like, hey, I just brought the slaves. You gotta, don't I get a reward or anything like that? They give him a baby to eat. And he eats the baby.
Wow.
They show Wolverine eat a baby.
Wow.
So then we cut to a little bunker. Yeah. We cut to a little bunker where a bunch of, like, all the magic people that are able to stave off the demon infection. You have Shaman, you have Marguerite Zardos, Jennifer Kale, Dr. Druid, Hellstorm, and Dakim, who is like a Merlin kind of. And then you have Baron Carl Amadeus Mordo. Baron Mordo is teaming up with his arch nemesis, Doctor Strange, because, you know, the friend of my enemy is...
Right.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, it's my friend's
Is my
enemy.
friend's
That's
enemy,
not my enemy,
and
but
then
my friend's cousin.
Yeah, but we'll be mad at each other.
Former roommate.
And then we
I think.
fight. And then you have, in another corner, all the heroes that are still around. You have Captain America in his old The Captain outfit, which was like the U.S. agent one. You have...
That is my favorite.
Yeah. Oh, and he's doing a one-arm push-up, by the way. He's just staying in shape. You know, you
Yeah.
gotta say it.
Right.
You have She-Hulk, you have Thor, you have Spider-Man, you have the Human Torch, and you have Kitty Pryde, Shadowcat. So they're waiting there. This is why this book. So you have all this intro, and yes, it's very convoluted, but once the shit gets going, it just hits the fan and it's going.
Okay.
So these guys are in their hideout trying to plan a way of how are we going to stop the demons and change everything back. Before they can even come up with a plan, a demonized Hulk and a demonized Wolverine with a whole army of demons bust in. Wolverine kills Dr. Druid. Hulk snaps the neck of Jennifer Kale.
Wow.
Then Hulk grabs his cousin She-Hulk, snaps her neck.
Oh, Jesus.
Wolverine kills Captain America. This is all just like panel, death. So they're fighting. Spider-Man gets impaled from behind by Wolverine.
Oh no.
Eeh.
Then the rest of the magicians start going, all right, we have to combine our power. Shoot it at Sim. Sim's just absorbing all the magic with the Soul Sword and disintegrates them. And then he's going to shoot all that power at the heroes. Thor comes in and starts absorbing that power and saying, okay, I'm going to sacrifice myself. He starts absorbing all the power and he's like, pretty much like, what is it, Gandalf? Run, you fools.
Yeah.
He pretty much says that, like, God's about to die. I'm just taking in, like, all this magic energy. Thor explodes. They say, this is my best, don't worry, Goldilocks. We'll get your pals. Your sacrifice will have been in vain.
Aw,
yeah.
that's so mean.
So Doctor Strange teleports the rest of the surviving members, which aren't many. It's like Doctor Strange, Shadowcat, Human Torch, and Baron Mordo. That's about it.
Damn.
Yeah, to another safe hideout. Meanwhile, we see a demonized Doctor Doom and Mr. Fantastic assembling all kinds of evil. Like those two minds together.
That is frightening.
Oh,
That is
yeah.
frightening.
That's scary.
Yeah, so they're assembling, they're making that's what it is. They're making a device that will allow them to demonize the multiverse, to go into the other dimensions
Oh,
and even
shit.
demonize that.
And
So-
that's where we get the Marvel zombies.
probably in some weird way.
That would make sense. That would make sense.
So then you have Doctor Strange going, okay, I have something I have to go check on. He goes and finds the mannequin of Rachel Summers, Phoenix, who's
And
also called
has
Phoenix.
sex with it.
No, it's not a real doll.
Okay.
He does a spell and he brings her back to life. Just in time for them to disintegrate some demons and disappear back to the hideout.
Cool.
So now they're back in the hideout. Shadowcat and Phoenix are hugging because they're all friends from Excalibur.
Mm-hmm.
Doctor Strange is like, we don't have much time. The Living Tribunal
Oh,
is going to
jeez.
come and judge this world, and he's not going to find it fit, and he's just going to destroy it. So any chance of us saving it will be null and void because it's just going to be gone.
Right.
So we need to come up with a plan.
build a spaceship.
Build a spaceship and take one of each animal
Right.
and call it,
The Ark.
no, Doctor Strange's Ark.
Oh.
a strange.
Yeah.
That's a strange arc.
But so, once again, because they're just not wasting any... This is what I love. They don't waste any time in this because they're like, we got to tell the story. Go.
Yeah, because it's one issue.
Yeah. So right before Doctor Strange is like, there's one way we can do this. You can summon the Phoenix. And she's like, I can summon, like, elements of the Phoenix, but I can't summon the whole Phoenix Force to, like, do this, to, like, save the day. And he's like, well, you're going to try. And before he could even say that, Sim, Demonized Wolverine, and the Goblin Queen all bust in. So before they could even figure out how to get the Phoenix Force, Sim, a Demonized Wolverine, and the Goblin Queen, Madeline Pryor, break in. Just bust through the wall.
Okay.
Zap Human Torch. He's down on the ground. We find out who zapped him. Baron Mordo. He's switched sides. He's a devious asshole.
Oh, that piece of shit.
Yeah. So meanwhile, Human Torch is down on the ground, and he's just barely holding his own. He's just flaming, he's flaming. Doctor Strange takes him and Rachel Summers' Phoenix into a little force shield, and he's like, I'm going to help you. We have to get the Phoenix Force. We have to get it right now. Human Torch says, I'm going out with a bang just like Thor did. He goes supernova. He kills a whole bunch of demons, but he's dead. Meanwhile, we see the beginnings of the Phoenix Force being summoned. And the Goblin Queen, because she has telepathic powers too, she's the clone of Jean Grey, senses this.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
then they have a battle to who can get the Phoenix
Control.
Force first.
Oh, nice.
So meanwhile, Doctor Strange is trying to protect Rachel while they're doing this psi battle. Wolverine sees this and he's just about to kill Doctor Strange when Kitty Pryde phases through a bunch of walls, goes solid, knocks into Wolverine to just stop him. On pure reaction, he slices her, and she had, she was solid. So she gets sliced, she's gutted, and she's like, Logan, why? And so we cut from that, we go back to the psi battle. Baron Mordo goes against Sim too. He zaps Sim because he's just like, I work for myself. Like Doctor Strange is like, whose side are you on? And he's like, I'm on my side, asshole. And zaps even Doctor Strange, grabs the soul sword from Sim, and now he's like, I'm gonna be a god. And before he could do that, Wolverine impales him from behind.
There you go.
And he's like, you took Kitty's dead. My last bit of humanity is gone. Like he still had a shred of humanity because Kitty Pryde was like his girl. Like that was like his, like he took care of her and like taught her. Yeah, it was like his little sister.
Yeah,
exactly.
they had sex at one point.
No,
right?
no,
No?
stop with the sex stuff. This is
okay.
not sex.
Okay.
So
So
before
thanks,
Baron
Kitty.
Mordo dies, he goes out like a badass and he grabs Wolverine and incinerates him
Wow.
into complete, and just all that's left are his adamantium bones and claws. Rachel sees this and is like, she sees Wolverine get incinerated, and she sees Kitty on the ground, one of her best friends, dead. That lapse of concentration allows Madeline Pryor, the Goblin Queen, to get the Phoenix Force.
That's not good.
So she's like, I have it. I am omnipotent. I have the Phoenix Force. Falls dead. The last remnants of Sim's energy reanimated Wolverine's bones and impaled her.
The skeleton.
Yeah. Reanimate the skeleton and kill her. That allows Rachel Summers
To take control.
to take control of the Phoenix. She takes control of the Phoenix and just lets all hell loose and disintegrates Sim, disintegrates all the demons. The Living Tribunal at that point comes in, sees the Phoenix Force has cleansed this earth, takes it in his hand, sets it free. The Phoenix Force goes on its way. Then we cut to the end with this kind of like, the world is almost restarted into like just like caveman days and stuff like that. It's just caves and grass, and you see Doctor Strange, Rachel Summers, helping give birth to Alicia Masters' baby, which was Johnny Storm's child, and she says, I'm going to name him Jonathan Storm.
Nice.
So it ends with a nice note. Like, it's actually a sweet note of after all this death and carnage.
Bittersweet ending.
Bittersweet, yeah.
Yeah. I say you ought to the Watcher. What's he doing through all this?
Oh, he's just saying, like, and this is, he
Isn't
has
he
his
like
beginnings.
he's like the lead in What If?
He
or
narrates.
something.
He would, Uatu the Watcher would narrate of like, this is what happened, but what if this happened? And then at the end he goes, and this is what happened.
Yeah.
And things happened. Uatu was like a giant baby with robes.
a giant
Like
head.
a giant man baby with a giant head. So
He had
yeah.
a diaper.
So that's my issue. It's an epic issue, as you can tell. It's
Yeah,
an
that's
issue.
really
A
cool.
lot goes down.
Yeah.
Like at first you were losing me. I was like,
Well, yeah,
there's
'cause-
a lot of
yeah.
backstory here. Basically, what they have to do is, it's probably, in knowing X-Men, it's probably like a 12-issue build-up, and they have to kind of abridge it
Yeah.
to catch you up. And like, if you didn't read that, here's what happened in these last 12 issues of
Yeah.
X-Men.
And they do a good. By the way, they do a good job of abridging it in these
Compressing
first
it.
couple issues. I mean, first couple pages, but
Yeah.
there was no way. I had to give you the confusing lowdown as much as I could because it's very convoluted.
Right, but once the action starts, it gets really
Exactly.
good. That's a good issue.
Exactly. So with that, I think we're done, right?
I
are
think
done.
so.
So rate, review us, subscribe to us on iTunes, subscribe to our YouTube page, subscribe or follow us on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter.
Show us the love. Tell your friends. Tell your family.
Yes, and we do have a YouTube video or two up now.
That's right. We have some YouTube videos. We do companion podcasts even go along with those videos as well. So
Yep.
check those out.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm Jarrett,
I'm Kevin.
And I'm going to always just probably be Donald.
and we will always, always see you